Investor Connect podcast program. This is Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of the show, in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, private equity, family offices, and many other investor groups for startups and growth companies. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining us. Well, hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today I'm here with Christian Garces of Texas ColdWorks. Christian, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Hal. So to be here.
So what was your background before joining Texas ColdWorks? What did you do before this?
Well, before this, I was the founder and CEO of Tableaux. We are a manufacturer of architectural products, both for residents and commercial use.
Great. And so what led you to start working with Texas ColdWorks?
It was a kind of an interesting roundabout way. The landlord of where we office and had our facility, I became close friends with him, and over the years, he had some other properties, and I offered to purchase one of the properties. So he finally offered me the property. It's a 15-acre site on East Austin, which kind of is hard to come by nowadays. And once I had the contract on it, I went about exploring what would be the ideal use for that piece of property. In that process, I discussed it with my brother, who runs a successful asset management firm here in Austin. And one of the ideas I came up with is doing something related to cold storage. And the more I studied the industry, the more I realized that it was the perfect play.
All right. So for investors out there thinking about investing in cold storage facilities, what would be your advice to them before they write that check?
I would say just do some research. I mean, there's so much data out there right now related to cold storage. There's a lot of people taking an interest in that sector, and there's quite a few studies being put out. So yeah, just get familiar with the sector.
Well, great. So to talk about the cold storage sector in general, how's that industry evolving and shaping up?
Well, I guess the biggest things having to do with there's several factors that are influencing this. From a broad view, there is a tendency that we're requiring, each of us is requiring more space for refrigerated goods in the distribution, right? In this chain, the global cold chain. And that has to do with the amount of specialty foods that are being developed and being consumed. So before you might say that the average person might have had an average of 5 cubic feet of cold storage. Nowadays, we're hitting somewhere around 14 cubic feet. And the tendency of that is to continue increasing. So the two main drivers right now would be the additional number of specialty foods and the fact that now we want these things delivered to our home. So, for example, CBRE is anticipating that during the next 5 years, we're going to demand an additional 100 million square feet of cold storage.
Well, it sounds like it's a fast-growing sector out there, and a lot of companies are engaged in it. What are the challenges in building a cold storage space?
The challenges, the buildings, the facilities that are being built for cold storage are getting more technically sophisticated. The average building out there is 34 years old. So they're outdated, and they tend to have very low ceilings. I estimate that they have a ceiling height of below 20 feet based on the numbers that are being provided. And so in order for a facility to be efficient, it needs to have very fast, for example, overhang doors. It has to be technically meet the USDA code, and they need to have very high ceilings. So we're talking now buildings on average for a facility is somewhere in the 40 to 50 foot clear heights, which makes a huge difference for the operator. And it's also one of the reasons why most of cold storage is moving away from being private, which back in the 80s, it was close to 60% to somewhere in the 80% range, because it just doesn't make sense for a company to run its own cold storage. It makes a lot more sense from an economics point of view for somebody to operate it on their behalf, whatever needs they have in relation to cold storage.
Are there any regulatory challenges that are coming up as well?
Well, not that I know of. The last ones that came out were 2009, but it's very highly regulated. Food safety obviously is a big concern always. So maintaining that chain unbroken, maintaining temperatures at a specific temperature is very key. And the facilities that are being built today are always obviously designed to meet that challenge.
Right. So how does Texas ColdWorks fit into this space, and what exactly are you guys working on?
Well, I think there's a couple of things that we're doing a little different from what's already out there. There are obviously facilities being built. The key things for us would be that the fact that currently, even though there's several facilities throughout Texas, there are no public cold storage facility in Austin. I guess it's just an oversight. I don't know what the reason for that is, but given that Austin is such a mecca when it comes to food, health-related things, primarily possibly because of Whole Foods being the headquarters for Whole Foods. So that's the first, I guess, key point of Texas Cold Storage is that we're developing this facility here in Austin where we have no public cold storage. And the second, I would say, would be that we're designing it in such a way that not only is our focus to develop the public cold storage piece for an operator, but also back it up with space for small and medium-sized food-related producers and co-packers. So, yeah.
Well, it sounds like a great opportunity. I understand the consumer product goods sector in Austin is growing rapidly, and there's great demand for it. And cold storage doesn't just appear on every corner. It's a very specialized unit. So certainly well needed in the space for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of surprising that we don't have it here in Austin yet. So we're very excited, and we've had a lot of good feedback from the people that are in the sector. So we just hope to be able to deliver something that meets their need.
Well, it's great. And the last few minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it all. Yeah, your guests are welcome to give me a call, and I'm glad to share as much information as I have on the topic.
Great. So how best for the listeners to get back in touch with you?
Either email me or call me. I'll be glad to provide my number.
I'll put that in the show notes. Appreciate you taking time to talk today and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
Thank you, Hal. I appreciate it.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Paul T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.